we're going to be rolling through some kaiju movies. We're rolling through another batch of pure kaiju movies. And this one right here is, well, we all know Mothra, of course. And of course, we know Godzilla. But of course, there are the lesser known kaiju or interesting take on nuclear fallout. In this case, the H-Man. Hang on. Yeah, the H-Man. This one says, Toho, the most famous of all Japanese movie studios, first made its name in the West for extraordinary masterworks of Akira Kurosawa. But they really struck box office gold with wildly colorful kaiju eiga, monster movies, that began in 1954 with the original Godzilla, the creation of director Shiro Honda and special effects wizard Eiji Tsuburaya. Now for the first time on DVD and in the original Toho scope aspect ratios, Sony Pictures presents 3 Honda classics that display the enormous breadth of Toho magic during its glory years. The H-Man, Battle in Outer Space, and Mothra are presented in both their Japanese and US versions. So travel back to the days before CGI when special effects were real and the results were spectacular. The H-Man is hydrogen, of course, when said bomb happened. This is a noir movie, a detective noir / sci-fi movie. I was pleasantly surprised. This is actually it's kind of a creepy movie. Not like Matango creepy, and not like a spoof that like DeGore was. No, this is its own standalone thing that deals with that's like, hey, these four sailors were going to search on an abandoned ship, and they found that there was some radiation going on there, hydrogen, and some thing came in and devoured them, and only 1 or 2 survived. What's going on here? What's causing all this? That's part of the mystery, because at first there's this cabaret singer whose boyfriend and significant other mysteriously melts, and they kind of accuse her, kind of not, that he's also part of like a gang that deals with drugs. So, they question her at first of like, so it's like, you have this television set. Where did you get the money from it? Oh, I'm a dancer at a cabaret club. How much do you make? 30 to 40,000 yen, which translated nowadays would be about $4,000 if I'm not mistaken, 3 to 4K. So, yeah. What this combines is detective work, good characters, and the overall sense that something is really amiss here, but no one knows exactly what. You've got a scientist who is studying the effects of radiation on the body, listing chemicals to make himself sound smart, things like that, and he thinks something is going on. It's like he's noticing a trend of, hey, these people are melting, not even bones are left. So you got that. You got the police who kind of don't want him in, but they do because the evidence does present itself more. It's a nice, solid build-up. It transitions well. There's no 200-foot monsters attacking Tokyo. There's no birds going on. It's more of a low-key horror. Especially when some of those bodies disintegrate, which is just, ugh. It's not super disturbing, but at the same time, when you see the uncut version, and you see kind of a decaying cadaver, it's kind of disturbing. It's like, hey, let's test the radiation on this frog. Let's get them exposed to let's get them in, let's get the radiation going on, and have this device that increases it, that they can easily increase it, like 100 to 100, 200, 300, etc. That's a good way of showing the fallout of what could happen. It's like we've seen dozens of times what happens with radiation, Let's actually show what could potentially happen to a human being rather than just a giant monster. I like that. They could say that the H-Man, because they say that when the hydrogen hits, it imprints, like the victim is still kind of there. It's where their last location, what they're longing to see, is still imprinted, so they kind of return and want to be the next, want to just kind of terrorize and things like that. It's an interesting take on things, I gotta say that. There's is cabaret music. There's 2 good dance sequences in the beginning. Just, I mean, it's like part of, it's like there were these scantily clad women. This is it's not really an exploitation, well, maybe a little bit, but it really doesn't matter. But these scenes were cut from the American release, which for 1958, 1960, I can see, but it is nice to have the uncut version. Good dance sequences. It's like the song numbers are really good. It's a nice jazz thing that has to do with love and things like that, you know. Yeah. The human characters are good. Haru Nakajima plays second dissolving sailor in Human Liquid Man. So, it's like they managed to, what is it, double expose the sentient liquid that it does manage to devour a frog. It's really interesting stuff. I have to admit that. I mean, there's a little sense of atmosphere. It's a noir crime thriller mixed with what could potentially be the next level of humanity. And this stuff just kind of exists in the sewer, so... And spoilers for a near 70-year-old movie. They notice that the liquid resides in the sewers, so they managed to get some oil and fire. Well, also at the same time, one of the members of the drug gang is going to retrieve some drugs. Says, I wonder how many pounds of drugs there are in here. And it's just like, well, as a fire is descending, and you know, and I think the college professor decides to go down, is going to rescue the woman, despite the fact that there's a wall of flames coming. Okay. It's a weird, unusual blending. I have to say that. There's also a creepy part in a derelict boat during a flashback where it's just like, wow. There is a real sense of atmosphere, and it's just so tense. And that you gotta give it respect for just how creepy it is, man. Ugh. So, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, some of the effects are still kind of, some of them are kind of looking at like a regular 480p DVD. It does look dated. I have to say that. Like the fire on, like the smoke on the water, fire underground, not in the sky. Thumbs up, you know I'm referencing. Kind of a lack, like police, like just, I don't know. It's not everyone's cup of tea. If you're not into like crime thrillers or different styles of like special effects and things like that, and yeah. But if you like The Blob, if you like The Blob, The Thing, you know, like you kind of like Casablanca, you want to see a bizarro fusion of these two, and you want to throw it on and be kind of spooked, but also still have a good time with good characters and good and interesting and a literally fiery ending, then I recommend that you watch The H-Man.